This is MetroSource Minis, the official podcast of MetroSource Magazine and home of short-form interviews with your favorite personalities from the LGBTQ world and beyond. Quick, fun, and informative. It's MetroSource on the go. Out and proud since 1990. Well, hello. This is MetroSource Minis. I'm your host, Alexander Rodriguez, lead writer for MetroSource Magazine and avid podcaster. Hollywood's big discussions are, should gay actors be the only ones to play gay? We see the headlines, out gay actor stars in new films. James Corden in The Prom is proof why straight men shouldn't play gay roles, but then cut to Stanley Tucci and Colin Firth getting amazing reviews as playing a gay couple in Supernova. And is all of this talk of who is playing a role overshadowing how good someone is in actually playing the role? Today we are setting the record straight. Get it? Okay. Actor and model Shaun Melady is no stranger to the public eye and continues to focus his attention on the screen in his most recent project, the Amazon Prime short film called The Disturbance Call. And he was recently named a New York City celebrity model through his work in various New York Fashion Week shows. And he continued his film work with Unit 11 Pictures while making this 20-minute horror film. And early in his career, he hit the ground running in full stride by landing 3 off-Broadway plays, has walked in both fall and spring New York Fashion Week, and also worked with a myriad of other designers. And off the runway, he has done print and commercial for Fortune 500 companies, a wide variety. Anything you can think of, he's probably modeled. Please welcome from NYC, please welcome Shaun Melady.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for having me, Alexander.
Of course. Okay, so when I first heard about The Disturbance Call, I'm a huge horror buff, so of course I went to Amazon Prime and I watched it. And then, of course, I was like, oh my, look at Shaun in that uniform. So I had to stalk you on social media. I scoured through everything and I was like, oh, well, he must be straight. I don't see any Andrew Christian underwear pics. I don't see any gay motivational quotes. I don't see any Golden Girls quotes. Is your outward social media not overtly gay on purpose, or that's just happened to happen?
I think that just happens to happen. Like, when you're saying that, I'm like, wait, am I even gay? No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, I think that's just how I portray myself. Listen, I am an out and proud man, and I love the LGBTQ community and being a part of it. But I don't think that's the only part of me that needs to be out there. You know what I mean? There's so many other things, so many different quotes besides Golden Girl.
Live, laugh, love.
Yeah. Right.
But it's funny, Shaun, because without being this overtly pride activist, you are actually, in my opinion, progressing the representation of the gay community in the film industry by showing that a gay actor can play straight without bells and whistles. The headline saying, oh, a gay actor playing straight kind of assumes that, number one, being gay is some supernatural occurrence, or that a gay actor who can play a role is hard to come by. I mean, I think that's what we're saying when wow, gay actor plays straight. You're saying that gay actors can't be a good actor. And so the focus is really on your acting, and the way you present yourself is kind of saying, yeah, it's just casual that it's a part of you, but it's not the part of you, that you're an actor. You're not this gay actor, Right. Do you get pushback from the gay community for not being more overt and out and flag flying?
Not directly, but I have had conversations with people where they are on the opposite side, where they think, only gay actors should play gay characters, or vice versa, and that they're very offended if straight actors are playing gay characters. But in my personal opinion and my view, which I fully express to people that may think the other way, I'll listen to them and I'll accept their opinions because they have every right to feel what they feel, but I think it's important as an actor to be able to portray other characters, other roles, for example, Joaquin Phoenix, he's not a clown in real life, but he's portraying a clown.
Well, he kind of is. He's a weirdo.
But you know what I mean? Where it's that's not your actual personality. That's not your persona. And so being able to act, you get to create that and portray that. So I think that's the beauty of acting.
I was talking this week to Academy Award winner George Chakiris, who played Bernardo in the film of West Side Story. And he's Greek, but he portrayed a Puerto Rican. He's also played a Mayan Indian. He's played Norwegian. And so I asked him, we're talking about films he made in the 50s and 60s where ethnic representation is not what it is now. We know Steven Spielberg is doing the new West Side Story and casting only Puerto Ricans in those roles. And I kind of asked him, he wouldn't have had all of these roles in the past if we were so fixated on who's playing what. And then he brought up, Anthony Quinn, who's one of the best actors. He's a Mexican actor. He played Zorba the Greek, who that role became iconic for him. And he wouldn't have been able to play that role. And it was just this conversation is like, we're talking about great actors and we're talking about the great roles that they've played. And those conversations, are not led by, it was just a different time, but the idea is still kind of the same, where the focus is really on the acting. And I'm not one to kind of hide what I'm feeling or what I'm actually thinking, and I'm just going to be really, really honest. There's activists in our community like Wilson Cruz, like Neil Patrick Harris, Ruby Rose, that they are so forefront, fighting for our community, fighting for representation, fighting for social causes, that when you do see them play a straight actor, I'm sorry, I'm always like, oh yeah, look, they're doing a really good job playing straight. That's always in my mind, which is not right, but I'm just being honest, because I always think of them as this staunch activist. But then I look at an actress like Sarah Paulson. I love Sarah Paulson. Mm-hmm. And she reminds me of you. She doesn't hide her sexuality. Of course, her relationship with Holland Taylor, but it's not something that she's always leading with. Mm-hmm. And I tend to be more enraptured by her performance because I can sit back and just really be consumed by the character, because I don't have all of this connotation that's kind of given to me. It's really a double-edged sword, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it definitely can be. And I know, like, we've chatted about it previously. It's very interesting because in the end, it's up to the audience. So if somebody's being a huge activist in the community, amazing. That's great work and so needed, and when they put themselves into a character, like on screen or on stage, they drop the activism part to focus on this part of them, the acting part. And if the audience member only sees them as this activist, then the actor can't change their mind on that front,
Right. Yeah.
Which is fine. But like, it's really not up to the actor when it comes down to the nitty gritty. But I also think, like, being a part of the community and not being so vocal about being a part of the community on, like, social media or different things like that, like, that can also look to an audience or to followers that, like, oh, he might not care, but that's not the case at all. You know what I mean? Like, I care. Like, it all depends on how
it's so interesting, and the role that social media has come to play in an entertainer's life. Back in the days, like, again, going back to this conversation I had with this actor, back in the days, you just had to show up, do your job, be a great actor. Now you have to worry about social media. You have to worry about keeping that up, but then you also have to worry about social media haters, such as, did you post this? Did you not post this? Did you use the right hashtags? Did you ignore something? It's, you're going to lose either way. And it's just so damaging that that's become such a big part of being a successful actor in the business. It's like, well, I'm acting. I'm not a social media guru. I know some people that are terrible at posting. Like with BLM, I didn't post a blackout square on my social media right away because I wasn't on social media the day that everybody was doing it. So I got all of these messages saying, "Hey, you didn't do it." So then I was like, "Oh my God, of course I support the movement, but maybe it's not that obvious." So then I posted, and then I apparently used a wrong hashtag or something, and so I got hate for that. And it's like, well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, no, that's a very interesting point, and it's a delicate subject. Like,
it's so delicate,
and like, because people are so quick to hear one thing, and cancel culture is a real thing, but like, they're so quick to hear one thing and not see the full picture, I guess. Because like somebody might not post on social media, they have those people have no idea what's happening behind the scenes,
That's exactly right.
what things are in the works, what organizations you might be like contributing to or like donating to. So like it's so important. Don't get me wrong. Like influencers and social media, like gurus, like you said, they have such a strong place, like in the community and different organizations, and they're amazing. And it takes a lot of work. So I'm not negating that, but it's not the only place.
Well, that's exactly right. And just because I post something is not going to change somebody's mind on the other side of the fence. They're not going to be like, "Oh, well, Alexander posted this and used this hashtag. I'm going to change my mind about everything I've ever thought." It doesn't work that way. Pretty much we're kind of preaching to our own choir. Now, what kind of conversations are you having with your agent or your manager, or on the issue of being a gay actor? Does it even come up? And there's also this kind of buzzword around you that's like, oh, well, Shaun's passable. You in the disturbance call, I never once was taken aside. You played a straight cop, and it was like, yeah, okay. But there's also this word that has a negative kind of connotation, like passable. It's like, well, he's not flamboyant. He kind of butches it up, and it's just this whole other conversation too as to passable and what kind of conversations are you having with your team?
Yeah, those conversations actually haven't really come up, thankfully. Like with my representation, like with my manager and agent. But they do know like I'm an out actor. They've met my partner. They've casted me.
Wait. You have a partner?
I do.
That's the end of this interview. Bye. No.
Oh, I did it again. Oh, that's so funny. But yeah, they've actually. It's funny because there have been castings where like people are looking for gay couples, and so like sometimes my representation, knowing that we live together and like we're together, they're like, hey, would you and Craig be interested in doing this? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Of course. So like they know, and thankfully it's been so accepting, and I feel like for the most part, the entertainment industry, as far as like the gay community, is pretty accepting, from what I've experienced. I'm sure there are tons of other stories, but just from a personal experience.
Now, in approaching your role for the disturbance call, did you feel like you had to butch it up, or were you more aware of your mannerisms that might come naturally?
Not necessarily. Like I just got into the character. Like I just got into the role of a cop. I'm like, what would this rookie cop do? And the my partner in the disturbance call, he actually in real life is like a former cop or a cop. And so like I was like taking notes from him, being like, hey, what would I do? Like just
Mhm.
trying to learn that character and really become that character. Um, there are times where like I'll fully admit, like an S sounds very very long,
Interesting.
very
Yeah.
um and so I'll be like, okay, maybe I need to work on that and kind of just like cut it short. Like, I don't know.
Oh God! See, like, hearing that, it has all these like red alerts as a gay person, but then you're also thinking as the character, such as if you were doing an accent, so to speak. If you were playing Australian, you'd be very aware of how your voice and speech came across, so that makes sense. But as a gay man, it's like, oh God, having a curtail, like a sassy S, or like like girl, that just sounds so wrong. But that is part of playing the character when we take it out of the context of being an activist.
Absolutely. And like you'll see different, like it's a part of acting. You'll see different movies like Bombshell,
Yeah.
with Charlize Theron. Like she had to play somebody, so she had to change her voice.
Yeah.
Not because she's trying to hide who she is. It's just she's trying to play,
Interesting.
you know.
Yeah.
So and
Yeah.
voice acting it's a huge part of the industry. It's actually becoming more and more present because COVID.
Yeah.
You'll see like different castings or different auditions or breakdowns or whatever you want to look at, and like it's like voice actors or different things like that. So it's like it's a whole different world, you know.
Now, in all of the interviews that you've been doing for the Disturbance Call, your sexuality is always brought up. Does it get tiring when an interview becomes like a part of that? Like it's kind of led with that. That's part of every interview that I've read with you for this film has kind of dealt with your sexuality. Does it get a little tiring as an actor?
Um, not tiring. No, it is interesting that you bring that up because, like, kind of like what we started at. I don't lead with my sexuality. So like, if it comes up, sure, I'm glad to talk about it, but that's not the only part of me, you know. Like the movie itself, like I'm really proud of the movie, and like it just won what is it, the New Jersey International Short Film Festival. Like,
Congratulations, by the way.
thank you so much. And like those topics will come up too, you know. So it's not just about being a gay actor, which if people want to talk about it, great, I'm happy to. Like, I'm definitely not ashamed about it.
Well, it's very funny how an actor is now packaged in terms of press, in terms of getting attention, such as, the film deals with what our biggest fears are. And, there's kind of this horror film-esque type of underlining to it, but you're seen with your partner where it's like you're talking about, huge like earth devastations, like earthquakes and hurricanes and the unknown. And I think your partner says, the biggest thing to fear or the scariest thing in the world could be other people, which is a huge statement, especially with what we've been through in the last year, the hate that we're seeing that's happening, even this week, towards the Asian culture. It's this big kind of monumental theme. Of this, but then we're seeing, like, I've seen, some of your articles show you with, like, your muscles hanging out, or like here's my model pic, or that he's this out actor, and it's like, well, it's kind of, we're not discussing what the film is about and how monumental that is.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Like, there's a big part in that short film that really talks about the fears, like you said.
Yeah.
It's so accurate because, yeah, you could be afraid of like heights, you can be afraid of snakes, you can be like, I don't know what, like the common phobias out there, but like people really, you have no idea what's going through somebody's mind, and you have no idea how deep rooted like hate is in certain people, or like judgments and like this ideology that they may have. You have no idea until it's like shown. You know what I mean? Like the tried and true saying is actions speak louder than words, and like when you see people acting out and doing horrific things, it's like, that's terrifying, because like,
Yeah.
you might know those people, that might be somebody that you're neighbors with, like they can be really scary. People can be really scary.
Shaun, this last week, the Catholic Church was under a lot of heat because they kind of published their denial, which is nothing new, by the way. I was raised in the Catholic Church; it's nothing new. But they said, that they would not be able to bless same-sex relationships. Your kind of public coming out was in your op-ed piece, "I'm a gay guy at a Christian college," that went viral. What are your thoughts on religion, faith, and same-sex relationships today? Keeping in mind that religion does not mean faith, by the way.
So I don't consider myself like religious anymore. Like I still, have faith, but I don't go to church anymore. But anyway, all that said is like, hearing what came from the Vatican, I'm like, okay, yes, the world probably wanted it to go a different way, that conversation to go a different way. But when it comes down to it, like the Catholic faith, I'm assuming, I didn't grow up Catholic. I'm assuming like the Catholic faith has been like really, really strong for a very long time. So it's not really a surprise that they didn't bless same-sex unions. It's not okay, like in my opinion, but like I wasn't really shocked by it, like that makes.
Yeah. Now, going to school at a Christian college, when you kind of came out with this article, how was that response? Did people try to tell you that Jesus was going to cure you of your sin, or how was that received? And that kind of duality of religion and sexuality?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. When I did when I did come out, like friends that I've known for my entire life, like who I considered like best friends and everything like that. When I came out, like they were like, "Hey, we really want you to think about what you're doing because we don't want you to go to hell." And I'm like, I okay, I think I'm fine. But like the thing is, like after that, they stopped talking to me, and like people like when I posted the article like on Facebook or like Instagram or something, I had comments from people that I've known, like that I went to church with and everything, that they're like, your ways are wrong, they're against God, and like again, like you're going to hell. And I'm like, well, if this is the type of thing that you guys are preaching, then I definitely know that I don't want to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, and it's so funny because Christianity is pretty much, well, it is based on the New Testament, and the New Testament is all about love, love, love.
yeah,
It's the Old Testament that's sin, sin, sin. And when we talk about, oh, the Catholic Church says that, homosexuality is a sin, it also says premarital sex is a sin. It also says masturbation is a sin. It also says divorce is a sin. It also says, touching certain kind of foods is a sin. There's just so much sin. And so it's like, it's interesting what a certain faith can narrow down on. And it's like nobody is without sin. I mean, that's an actual phrase from the Bible. You know what I mean?
right.
And then the whole message of Christianity should be based on love. That's what the message of the New Testament was.
Absolutely. That's so right. Like the part that I think is so interesting is like people forget that, or they don't even
Yeah.
think about it. Like you mentioned the prom earlier, like with James Corden, but like Andrew Rannells, he sings the song "Love Thy Neighbor," I think, in the prom.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it is such a good, accurate song. I'm like, it's funny, one, but two, it's like, if people actually listen to the words of the song, they would have a whole different opinion, I think. uh, and like, in my personal opinion, but also, if I were to have a religion, it would be like the religion of love. I'm like, just everybody accept each other, love each other. Like, you have no idea what somebody's background is. People can be scary, as mentioned, but also that like fear can stem from not being shown love. Like it would just solve so many things.
Yeah, it's just interesting how somebody could be angry towards somebody for their ethnicity or their sexuality, things that they cannot change, some in a way that God has made them, but yet they're still using faith and religion as a way to attack these people. It's like, so you're saying God made a mistake then because He made these kind of people that you cannot stand? Oh, we could talk forever and ever about that. I want to talk about your transition from modeling to acting.
Yes.
Sometimes when we see models on screen, we're like, oh, how cute, they want to be an actor. And sometimes it works out amazing, and sometimes it's like, yeah. When you made the transition to acting, did you get any pushback as to like, oh, okay, here's this cute model, now he wants to be an actor? Did you run into any of that?
Actually, I've heard people say it. I've heard people say, and they're like, yeah, people don't really like to see, like casting directors don't really like to see on your like resume or something that
Yeah.
you're a model, because it's like, oh, they can stand there and look nice. I can do more. And like I've definitely heard that before, but thankfully I try to let the work speak on its own, and like really give 100% to each and every role. So like thankfully I hadn't had like much negative criticism about that.
I think part of it too is you just put out this positive vibe about you, and the many times that we've chatted, it's just this positive, optimistic view on life. Where do you want to see yourself in the scope of things as both an actor, but as also a gay man in the LGBT community?
I love being like a part of the LGBTQ
There's too many letters. There's too many letters.
um I love being a part of the community.
Yes.
And like being here in New York, like I'll play on a gay volleyball league and be a part of that, or I'll go to Pride events, and like I would like to be more involved in Pride events, and like help be involved in the parade and like all that. Like I think that's so amazing and so just like freeing, because you're just surrounded by this community. But as far as like acting, I definitely want to, keep progressing, keep doing movies and like TV. Broadway that's a whole different animal. Like I would love Broadway, but Broadway actors, I'll tell you what, they are animals in the best way because that takes some
8 shows a week.
8 shows a week, your voice, like it's amazing. So maybe eventually.
Shaun, do you sing?
I do.
You do?
Don't ask me to sing right now.
Okay, so like what Broadway musical would you cast yourself in?
Oh. Actually, before the shutdown, I auditioned for a Broadway musical.
Which one?
Book of
I could see you in Wicked. Book of Mormon?
Yes,
I could totally see you in that.
People, when I said, yeah, I went in, saw casting for that, they're like, Elder Price. I was like, that's the one.
Well, and I have to tell our audience, if you've ever dated a Broadway actor, I mean, from doing 8 shows a week and those dances, let me just say the body is tight. Okay, we're going to play a little rapid fire. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay. You're going to star as the next James Bond. What is the movie called?
Oh, gosh. 00. Oh, my God. 00 Heaven. How about that one?
Oh, that's good.
We'll stick with the religious stuff, right?
Yeah, that's really good. 00 Heaven. Oh, God, I really like that. Okay. What celebrity would you most want to film a love scene with?
Oh. Man or woman?
Doesn't matter.
Oh. If we went with a woman, I love Demi Lovato. I think Demi Lovato is incredible. So it would have to be her. Man,
interesting.
Right? Random, right? But as far as a man, I can't say because I'd get in trouble.
You don't have like a hall pass? You have to have a celebrity hall pass.
Oh, no. You'll see me cut. I'll be cut, right?
Okay. What is a horrible fashion trend that you have fallen victim to?
So I love like oversized things. So I'll wear like gigantic like just shirts and then like wear like a tank top underneath, like a skin top, and just like wear like this giant shirt with the buttons open and it like flies everywhere. And I'm like, what are you doing, Shaun?
I have to tell you, as a curvy girl, when a skinny person wears oversized clothes, it makes me want to tear their eyes out because it's like, what are you doing? You have this body and you're going to put oversized? No. That's like my biggest thing. I was like, no. Okay, Shaun, what has been your worst date?
Worst date? Oh. So it was actually in New York. We were like walking around Central Park, it was fine. It was cute. But then like, went in for a kiss and like, it was honestly like, just like kissing like a bird that had just a really rapid beak. And it was like, so bad.
Oh, there's nothing worse than a bad kisser.
It was like if I took my knuckle and just started kissing my knuckle, like that's kind of what I felt like.
Killjoy. Okay, even though you're a model, what is your binge junk food?
Oh, pizza. Oh my gosh. Ugh. But it has to be like what I can eat literally every day is popcorners. Have you had popcorners?
What is that?
Oh my God. They look like Doritos, but like they're made of popcorn and like they're incredible.
Oh, Shaun, you just given me another junk food that I do not need.
No, you do need it.
I'm going to go check it out. Like literally, I'm going to do that.
Please do. It's so good.
All right, Shaun, tell everybody where you want them to find you and follow you.
Yes, please follow me on Instagram. I know we were just talking about it, but it's at Shaun Melady. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Shaun Melady as well. Facebook, feel free to follow me on there. I don't post too much, but yeah. And then watch The Disturbance Call on Amazon Prime.
Thank you so much. I always love talking to you. When you come visit the West Coast, it's on.
It is so on. Like, I'm beyond ready. I'm about to look at flights.
Good. Hey, they're cheap for now, but in a month they will not be.
I believe, but we're mimosas.
Thank you so much, Shaun.
Thank you, Alexander. I'll talk to you again soon.
Yes. All right, that has been my chat with Shaun Melady. You can read my in-depth interview with him at metrosource.com. And again, also watch the horror short film, The Disturbance Call on Amazon Prime. And that's our episode. I'm your host, Alexander Rodriguez. You can find me on Instagram at AlexanderIsOnAir. And I'm super gay on my social media. Until next time, stay true and do you, boo. That has been another MetroSource Mini. Like, share, and subscribe on your favorite podcast player, and check out the latest issue of MetroSource Magazine on newsstands or online at metrosource.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram at MetroSource, and on Twitter at MetroSourceMag. Until next time, stay fabulous.